Let's be honest, fragrance collecting is quite a special hobby to have. There are so many unique experiences that only we fragrance connoisseurs can relate to. Not to mention that we are always going through some sort of trial and error when trying new scents. So I thought, why not put together a list of things that only fragheads could understand? And sure, some of these may be a little bit weirder to admit to, but hey, at the end of the day, we both know we've done them. And a lot of these have become habits or even daily occurrences that we all go through in our lives. So hopefully at the end of this video, we can just have a little laugh about it and have some fun with it. So this first one may not necessarily be a big deal, but it's pretty annoying to me when it happens. It all starts when you're about to go out and you have your little fresh fit on, and so naturally you're about to put on your favorite fragrance to complement your confidence. But as you go in for that spray, something weird happens. So some way somehow you've just missed the entire surface area of your neck. Way to go, buddy. It's not like you've done this hundreds of times. Either your fragrance atomizer decided to wake up in this orientation that day, or your aim just happens to be on the level of some of the finest troopers out there. But hey, it's okay, we all wake up sleepy in the morning, and I feel like this happens to me at least once a week. But at least let's try not to miss those expensive niche sprays. Next, have you ever loved a fragrance so much that you are completely obsessed with it? I'm talking you wear it almost every single day, regardless of how many bottles you own, and you even may consider it a signature scent at some point. But then eventually you just keep ordering more fragrances, as we all do, and your collection just keeps getting bigger and you get your nose on different scent profiles. But then one day you find yourself reminiscing and just missing that old signature scent. So you pull it out of whatever dark closet corner it finds itself in, and then you get ready for that nostalgia, baby. But as you take that first sniff, you come to realize that it's not as good as it was before. Like, why is it actually mid now? Like, I used to love this stuff. Either my nose just got more mature, which I would hope would be the case, or maybe you just realized that the fragrance was trash to begin with. Falling out of love with a scent has to be really one of the saddest moments in a fragrance journey. An occurrence so difficult to explain that we can only hope it won't happen as often. The sad truth is that it could very much be our own addiction, or the ambition to keep getting the next best thing, or an even more ultra niche fragrance that could be causing us to part ways with some fragrances that we so dearly loved. Next, we can't have a video about fragrances without mentioning the concept of blind buying, because at the end of the day, a good deal is a good deal. Especially when it comes to those more desired niche fragrances on the market. Like, you're really trying to make sure you're the best smelling guy in any room. So when you're buying something and you're dropping an absolute bag on it, I mean, it makes sense for us to be pretty excited to smell what the whole online hype was about. So nothing beats the feeling of when that package comes knocking at your door. I mean, let's be honest, it's not like you weren't tracking it every moment since you ordered it. So of course you quickly get to sniffing, but then ain't no way that was a miss. Ain't no way all these people and reviewers online lied to me. Am I crazy for being the only one that'll give it a trash rating? Like, I'm trying to smell what everybody else be smelling. Like, I want to really like this fragrance. So of course you do the natural thing and you immediately go to Fragrantica. And you start your doom scrolling process as you try to find all the reviews for your product and really try to focus on the real positive ones, all the 5 out of 5s. All of it just to cope with the fact that you just inhale toxic fumes through your nose. But nah, sometimes we really be gaslighting ourselves into believing that we actually got a decent product. But deep inside we all know it was a fat, expensive L. But of course not all is bad with these relatable fragrance experiences. There are also certain joys in life that only us fragrance collectors can enjoy. So we're gonna get into a rather interesting habit that I personally enjoy doing. This one happens almost every time I'm trying out a new fragrance that I just bought. Now, an average Joe would never understand this one, but I think that most of you are pretty guilty of it. See, whenever you're about to test out a fragrance in public for the first time, it's always very important to get one specific spot, and that is your wrist. This will help you track the scent and the longevity, and you can get easy access to smelling it. The only problem with this is that you might be spending too much time sniffing yourself than actually paying attention to someone you're hanging out with in real life. And I get it, who would want to be on a date with someone who's just constantly sniffing themselves every 5 minutes? Yeah, not really a great first impression there. But hey, to us this is some serious analytical work for fragrance testing. but it may come off as maybe a little bit too concerned with your own self-image to other people. But oh well, maybe they're just not the one if they don't support your fragrance addiction. But in all seriousness, please don't choose smelly waters over real human connection. But speaking about wearing fragrances out in public, let's talk about another absolute masterclass of an experience. Sometimes you're out and about having a casual day with friends and you sprayed some cologne without even thinking about it too much. And then all of a sudden a random bystander turns around and just sniffs the air and says, "Dang, who smells that good?" And you may not say anything, but in the back of your mind, you're like, "Yes, sir, that's me." Like, if it's a complete stranger, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna be humble and not say too much. But if it's a friend saying it, I'm gonna be very proud to take that compliment. But regardless, any type of compliment will always be a very wholesome experience to have. However, where there is compliments, there is also the risk of complaints. And trust me, I've had some very bad reactions to some of my fragrances. But you know me, I always play it off real cool. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like cologne. Surely must be this guy right next to me. And I will always point out to one of my friends. And bro already knows he has to take one for the team because I gotta keep my record clean. Yup, there's no way I spend hundreds of dollars to be regarded as the stinky guy. But if this ever happens to you, don't let it get to your head. Fragrance taste is just way too subjective for it to mean anything. So please, if you rock with something, just keep wearing it. Especially if it's your signature scent. You gotta wear it with pride and not let anyone else ruin it for you. And now let's talk about a few fragrance habits that we all share, regardless of our collection size or where in our fragrance journey we may be at. These are the most universal ones so far, so there is no way you can deny these. First one is all those research sessions, quote unquote, that we be pulling off. There is no way you can lie to me and say you have not had at least 10 Fragrantica tabs open at once. Whether it was at school just messing around with some of your buddies or even at the office when you're supposed to be doing your job. We are all guilty of doom scrolling and just falling into this deep fragrance rabbit hole because some of us stay true to the game and are real passionate about our hobby. And last but not least, we have the testing sprees we all be pulling off at the mall. Some of us be spraying those fragrances like we be abusing those Costco free samples. And at the end, we end up being a walking glob of chemicals, but let's be real, it is so worth it. Especially when you're broke and you don't really plan on buying anything. And I get it, sometimes it may be a little mean, especially for the workers that help us through the whole process and literally show us around their whole fragrance shop. But hey, if you're just nice to them, you can have a good talk and then just walk away with some free samples. I'm sure many of them understand that discounters exist and retail is too expensive. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We are so close to our goal of 5,000 subscribers, so don't forget to hit the sub button. And also hit that like button if you happen to find any of these experiences relatable. That being said, I'll see you all in the next amazing fragrance video.